We are taught from a very young age that competition is the lifeblood of business. You enter a crowded market, you fight for the exact same slice of the pie as everyone else, and the best product wins. But if you look closely at the math, capitalism and perfect competition are actually opposing forces. In a perfectly competitive market, profit margins get competed away. Look at the sheer scale of U.S. airlines. They move millions of people across the globe, creating hundreds of billions of dollars of tangible value every single year. Yet historically, they keep only pennies in actual profit per passenger. Now compare that to Google. Google's search engine creates a fraction of the gross economic value of the entire airline industry. But because they don't have a true rival, they capture and keep a massively disproportionate slice of enduring profit. Most businesses struggle because they obsess over their rivals instead of their customers. They cut prices, they match features, and they slowly bleed each other dry until their margins hit zero. The world's most valuable technology companies are not competing at all. They operate a hidden alternative system designed specifically to capture and keep value. To understand how this alternative system works, look at this chart. It maps the two distinct ways that human beings make progress. The horizontal axis represents globalization, or going from 1 to n. This means taking something that already exists, like a typewriter, and building 100 of them. It is simply copying what works. The vertical axis represents technology, or going from 0 to 1. This means looking at that typewriter and inventing a word processor. It requires doing something nobody else has ever done before. When a company successfully goes from 0 to 1, it creates a creative monopoly. We aren't talking about illegal government bullies here. We mean a company that is so exceptionally good at what it does that no other firm can offer a close substitute. Engineering this type of creative monopoly is the only proven way a business can transcend the daily brutal struggle for survival and secure long-term capital. A creative monopoly doesn't happen by accident. It operates like a mechanical engine, built from 4 specific gears that create an inescapable moat. The first gear is proprietary technology. And the math here is strict. Your solution cannot just be a marginal improvement. It must be an order of magnitude, at least 10 times better than its closest substitute. When PayPal launched, buying an item on eBay meant putting a physical check in the mail and waiting 7 to 10 days for it to clear. PayPal allowed buyers to pay in 1 second. The second gear is network effects. This dictates that a product becomes inherently more useful and valuable as more people join the system, making it mathematically irrational for users to leave. The third gear is economies of scale. Software companies excel here. The fixed costs of writing code spread out over millions of users, meaning the business actually gets stronger and cheaper to run as it grows. The fourth gear is branding. A dominant brand creates a psychological monopoly, taking up permanent, exclusive residence in the consumer's mind. These are the required physics for a company to generate massive cash flows far into the future. We frequently hear that success relies on the first mover advantage, the idea that you have to rush to market before anyone else. But being the first to arrive yields exactly zero value if a superior competitor simply shows up a year later and unseats you. The actual goal of a founder is the exact opposite. You want the last mover advantage. This requires making the final, definitive great development in a specific market. You solve the problem so comprehensively that no one can justify trying to follow you. Business is like chess. True value capture doesn't come from making the fastest opening move. It comes from studying the end game and ensuring you are the last one standing. Knowing how this engine works is only half the battle. Executing it requires a very specific sequence. The natural instinct is to try and disrupt massive, billion-dollar industries on day one, but founders must resist that urge. You have to deliberately target and dominate a tiny, highly specific micro-niche. Jeff Bezos's founding vision for Amazon was to dominate all of online retail, but he deliberately started entirely with books. Millions of books existed, but they all shared roughly the same shape. They were easy to ship, and they represented a contained market Amazon could completely monopolize before expanding.
PayPal followed the exact same rule. They abandoned their initial plans to build a payment system for the whole internet and hyper-focused solely on serving a few thousand power sellers on eBay. Sequencing markets correctly is a disciplined art. A small, contained monopoly generates the cash and the leverage required to eventually fund the conquest of adjacent markets. When looking at a crowded market, the standard instinct is to ask, how do I beat my competitors? But the 0 to 1 founder asks a different question. What valuable company is nobody building? To capture true value, you have to stop fighting over the existing pie. You have to step off the competitive chessboard entirely and create something completely new.